All right, this is Steve with Real Progressives. Tonight, we're going to end the charade. I thought about this all weekend long. Um, you know, the idea that we've been going hard and strong at the idea of a New Deal, the idea of a huge spending plan, the idea of a huge windfall of win for the 99%. We've been doing this nonstop, not just Real Progressives, but the Bernie Sanders campaign and those surrounding Bernie Sanders. From day one of this fight, we have been saying the exact same things. We've been saying modern monetary theory, a federal job guarantee, green energy yesterday, retrofit every smokestack, retrofit every car. We've been saying stuff like this from day one. Check the tape. I promise you, I have not changed. I watched videos of myself just because I wanted to see how far I've come or how far I've regressed. And I look back 2 and 3 years ago, and it's the same message. No joke. Maybe a little bit more polished, maybe a little bit of better technology, but the same message. And here we are. We've got Andrew Yang running as the UBI guy, and he's got the Yang gang. And people that I care about, that I, think of as friends, running around championing the Yang gang. Now, if you've done any following, forget Real Progressives. Although that's where my heart lies, forget Real Progressives. Think about Bernie Sanders, his economists, and everyone else that really is taking the time to do the dirty work to learn this stuff. And you will see across the board that a UBI is no bueno, that a UBI is actually status quo, that a UBI is actually more capitalism. It's giving people pieces of paper and not the goods and services they need, and that it's just a neoliberal Trojan horse to get rid of government. Once again, if you think about last night's stream where we talked about the fact that there is literally no safety nets out there. They're trying to privatize everything. The UBI is the other side of that angle. They want to make sure that they can keep making money. They want to make sure that they keep us dependent. And the UBI gives you no services whatsoever, but it absolutely keeps you tethered to the people that do produce goods and services. There's no wage floor. There's no price anchor. It's a shit program, period. But then we got over here at this booty gig guy. Booty gig comes out there, says a few things that make people blush, and all of a sudden you got people talking about booty gig. This guy is a joke. Then you've got the Tulsi crowd. And this is more complicated, right? Because this is partially that crossing line between libertarian and progressive. This is where folks aren't quite sure where they fit. They're kind of in this middle of the road ground. And they've got a situation where somebody who doesn't have any real momentum backing them right now at all is their person. Now, mind you, this is not to denigrate Tulsi. This is just a statement of fact. She's got this OFF Act, which is about getting off the Fossil Fuels Act. It's a great plan, but it's a single plan. Do you understand? The Green New Deal is a huge framework of plans. And why is that? Because economically literate people have sat there and assessed all the needs that we have to address in society. Economically literate people have taken the time to look not only at the environment, but look at the job situation and understand the transition, the just transition from fossil fuels into a green environment. Now, that's not to say the Off Fossil Fuels Act is a bad act. It's probably a great act, and it could marry up with the Green New Deal because the Green New Deal is a framework. This could be plug and play. There's no issue there. But you would have to be an absolute moron economically to not understand how vital the overall Green New Deal is. It exceeds just off fossil fuels. So if you're one of those people that can't understand all this stuff, you're part of the problem. With all due respect. If you're one of those people that ignored MMT throughout this problem, you're part of the problem. And so each step along the way, we've got Joltin' Joe Biden getting ready to toss his hat in there. Why? So that he can muddy the waters against Sanders. And you've got Marianne Williamson, who's going out there talking about, hey, reparations, this and that. But she has got not a prayer in hell because she doesn't have a robust platform. Nobody knows her. And all these things, every last one of these bills and these candidates require momentum. They require momentum, a mass movement backing them. So what did the Democrats do? They logjammed the entire backload with a bunch of shit candidates. Cory Booker, get out of here. Elizabeth Warren, about as riveting as watching your mom and dad have sex. And then you look over here at the rest of them. I mean, the list, Christian Hillebrand, who are you? Why do I care about you? Boosh, go away. The list of these folks is long. Kamala is a cop, Harris. Who cares? There's nothing innovative about these people. Beto, Mr. Robert Francis, Mr. Let me appropriate some Latin lingo. Beto. Got to roll the R to get the authenticity there for Beto. Beto, right? And let me see if I can flail my hands around so I can be Beto. None of these people, not one of them, have a legitimate overall platform. They're always nickel and diamond around the edge. And let me tell you something, what really bothers me right now about this Tulsi Bernie Green New Deal / Off Fossil Fuels Act. The Green New Deal has momentum. It has a lot of people excited about it. The Off Fossil Fuels Act? No, nobody's really talking that much about it. And it's not that it's a bad bill, it's just got no momentum. But if she was playing ball with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the others, she could probably get them to work with her to mold this in, and she could be a part of that bigger process. But instead, she wants to, go it alone. And there are a few people out there that are humping her back the whole way through that don't realize that the momentum that they're stealing or trying to steal isn't helping anybody. Because by the time the watered-down 20-person board of Democrats gets through the door, with Amy Klobuchar, whatever. Think about what I'm saying here. The Democrats have already got it stacked up so that it's going to be nearly impossible for a candidate to win fair and square. So what they're going to end up doing is throwing the superdelegates in there again. So if you think for a minute that trying to downplay a Green New Deal, which has got all this momentum, and trying to shift energy away from Bernie Sanders is somehow or another a winning proposition for humanity and mankind, well, you're dense. You're not living in reality. Now, let me tell you why it gets really bad. Why it gets really bad is that after all these years, people have still gone la, 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 not listening. They thought they had cult down. They thought that if they called something a cult, that you could keep it at bay. It's like this thing that I don't understand. I can keep it at bay. I don't need to understand MMT. I can keep it at bay. But the truth is that we don't stand a chance, folks, without MMT. And these candidates that are going up there are doing nothing but bleeding off energy. They're not adding value to the debate. Think about this for a minute. I want peace, and I want the voice of Tulsi Gabbard up there on that stage. But if you're keeping score, not every time you run straight first into a wall does it benefit you. Sometimes you have to do a quick end around to get to the goal. Straight may be the quickest line, but it doesn't mean you're getting through a locked door. Sometimes you've got to use your brain to get to the end game. And I'm telling you right now, when you're about as riveting as a wooden statue, don't expect a mass movement to follow. No matter how loyal and totally excited a couple people are about your campaign. And this is the problem, folks. With a 20-person board of people, the slate is huge. It's watered down. It's like a cup of coffee that's been run through the grinds 20 times and then heavily creamed. There's no coffee left, folks. And before long, you just make this one guy, try and minimize him to nothing, and eventually you end up with Joe Biden. Or you end up with Kamala Harris. And that's game, set, match. The too cool for school guys that are going after the diamond in the rough, the hidden gem, you're not helping anybody. You're not. This is not vote shaming. I'm telling you straight up. When I hear people talk about a single bill, one bill, as being the thing that matters and put the Green New Deal on the back burner, I know I've run into somebody that doesn't understand economics, that skipped the reading, that decided they had it all figured out. Maybe even somebody to talk about petrodollars. And after a while, you begin to realize that if this is the army we're going to war with, folks, we are in deep shit. Deep, deep shit. I sat there and I thought to myself, the only way people are going to get excited and try and really, really win an election, really go for it, is to have a vision broad enough and powerful enough and riveting enough to bring the kids out to vote and to bring all the other folks out to vote. But I always forget there's this too cool for school gang, this gang of folks that wants to be edgier than hell. They want to be exceptional. They want to be the cool guys. They want to be super, super duper, I'm so exceptional that you don't even know what I'm doing. They want to be that special snowflake, that one person that thinks they've got it all figured out. And I'm here to tell you, we've been suffering for it's really about 50 years now. 50 years that we've watched our standard of living shrink from what our parents' standard of living was. We've watched everything collapse around us. We've watched buildings go dilapidated. We've watched towns go ghost. We've watched entire cities crumble. We've watched major metropolitan areas become ghost towns and great industrial regions become a belt of rust. We've watched people stuck in untenable situations and no way out. But we've got people talking about a single bill, the Off Fossil Fuels Act, as if that is somehow or another the linchpin to saving everything. And I'm here to tell you straight the fuck up. The Green New Deal is a framework to get all of the things we need done. This is how FDR saved us in World War II. This is how they saved us from the Great Depression. And this is how we're going to save ourselves with a job guarantee, etc. from the coming economic destruction that's going to happen when the bubble bursts on all the stock buybacks, the student loan debt, and all the housing problems that are still going on today. All the people that simply are going to run out of energy running from the axe as the freaking austerity strikes and this wave, this tsunami comes crushing through. And they just give up. They just run out of juice to run and run and run and keep running from the axe that's coming. And then they get swept away. This is what ignoring the economics has done to us. This is what has happened to our country. And then you make it worse. Because people don't like to think. They don't like to use their brain pan for anything more than syrup. And because of that, they're more than happy to fanboy and fangirl and talk about bullshit like they're on The View. And just sit there and talk with their buddies and friends and not get anywhere. Folks, I hate to break it to you, but while we're sitting there kicking stones, there are serious calamity heading our way. You got economic calamity coming our way. You got environmental calamity coming our way. You've got healthcare calamity coming our way. And you've got a job situation that is going to wreak havoc, not only on the people that were in the former fossil fuel industry, but the people that are in the medical industry, all these folks that don't have a just transition to these new things as we try to fight for them, because people are busy worrying about a single one-off bill instead of looking at the entirety. Now, if you think I'm joking, I'm assuring you, I am not joking. It is extremely disturbing to me that we don't have a referendum, that we don't have a straight-up mandate from progressives everywhere to finish that which we started in 2015. It is infuriating to me that we've got people out there bringing up people that have absolutely, it's not even about just winning. I don't give two shits about Donald Trump. Let me tell you, for real, if it's not Bernie Sanders, it may as well be Trump. Because every other person doesn't have nearly the vision it takes to get us where we need to get to. Folks, this isn't a matter of perfect is the enemy of good. This is a matter of we've got this small window to survive. And if we're not going to do it right, then why do it at all? Let's just friggin' be like that old couple in the Titanic, hug each other and go to sleep as the boat goes down in the icy waters. If you're going to take the day off and do a timeout and go watch Super Bowl ads or something like that, then go do that. But let's all be real. Let's pull the charade and be done with the lies and be done pretending that we're serious about making change. Presidencies are won based on momentum. Overcoming rigged elections is brought on by massive numbers, not by watered down, spread out numbers that are a perfect foil for more election fraud. And then to have people that are too cool for school that refuse to learn the most basic, fundamental, easy to understand. We're not talking about the deep stuff. The easy to understand economic message, because they were too busy way back when calling it a cult that they're embarrassed and ashamed that they were the dodo bird that said it, and now today they got to eat that turd sandwich and they got to admit they were wrong. And so rather than do that, they just focus on something else. And that, my friends, is devastating to any chance we have of winning. We are deep in a charade right now where frauds and people that are just getting clickbait, click likes, fucking bullshit, clowns out there giving you their ideas that don't have any macro backing it up, don't have any fundamental truths backing it up. It's just like, hey man, I can be just like The View, and I can give you my view, and I can kind of joke around with you and give you my view, and I can get more clicks and I can get more likes because I'm whatever. That is the bullshit that strays the gang, that takes the team away from the victory. Andrew Yang is just a cesspool of one-trick pony, and the one trick he's got is one of the most lethal ones. Folks, it's bad enough that we aren't going to be able to survive most of the problems coming our way based on the way things are now. Add in a stealth backdoor tactic with a UBI, which has long been jonesed for. I mean, we're talking about these guys have been jonesing for us to. The right wing wants us to do two things. Let me stop here for a second. The right wing is desperate for us to do two things. Number one, they want us to think that we have enough, that sack, to call a constitutional convention. They beg for us. They want us to. They hope the left is dumb enough to do it. And I think we're dumb enough to do it. I think we just might be dumb enough to do it. They're begging for us to have a constitutional convention. They want it because they've been preparing for this for 30 years. The Powell memo came out. They have been preparing for a constitutional convention forever. And they chose to go after the state houses. That's why they've got so many governorships wrapped up around the country. But yeah, let's go press for a constitutional convention because we're so organized. Stupid. These right-wingers, they're smart. They're assholes. They're lethal. But damn it, at least they stay focused on the prize. Give them credit where credit is due. And the right wing is desperate for us to push for a con because they will shove through a balanced budget amendment so fast, your head will spin. And then it's game, set, and match on everything that we want. It's over. Balanced budget amendment will literally be the death knell of all things progressive. And then the second one is that if they can't get there, they pray to God we're dumb enough to institute a UBI. Because if we do a UBI, then they can logically say, folks, we've given them $1,000 a month. They don't need that welfare anymore. They don't need that CHIP program that gives them health care. They don't need food stamps. What are you talking about? We gave them $1,000. We can cut those programs now. We can save money. And this is exactly what the neolibs want, and this is what the right wing wants. And damn it, if we don't have enough lefties that think they're being cool and edgy that are going to go ahead and shove that thing right up someone's tail end. And that stealth attack from the backside is going to be our death knell once again. But no, folks, the algorithms, if they don't kill my message, then some bullshit copyright protection on YouTube will kill our ability to live stream. Something will happen that will block the message, and some dipshit that's pushing these things will get far more airplay, far more likes and clicks, and they will get that message out there. I'm telling you. It's the most depressing thing in the world. It's the type of stuff that makes you wake up in the morning and say, maybe I'm not going to do this anymore because I am so tired of getting fucked. But the truth is, I'll take any of these son of a bitches on a debate, and I will slaughter them. And I will do it with meanness and viciousness because I'm so angry right now. I am so angry right now that we can't unify around the right package, the package that we have been fighting for years. I am so angry that people don't understand. Or don't want to understand, or too proud to understand. And people are too easily distracted. And my fear is we are going to get our asses handed to us because we can't stay focused. And with all the shiny little one-trick ponies out there going for clickbait and likes, and people got it programmed in their phones. Oh, Johnny Lightweight is going to go live any minute now. I've got to catch that. UBI. I'm telling you right now, it is the most frustrating thing in the world. It's absolutely the most frustrating thing in the world. And I'm telling you right now, the answers are there. We have them. It's not like they're hidden. They're hidden in plain sight. The things that we've been fighting for have a track record. There's history on our side. World War II mobilization had the factories at 120% just running constantly. They were worried about the economy overheating, so they sold war bonds. There was no hyperinflation, but we were spending money like crazy, making sure that the country was taken care of. Now here we are, 2019, heading for 2020. And people still can't wrap their brain around the fact that we can do incredibly powerful things. People have still not figured out that if we're the richest country in the world, why the hell can't we do these things? They ask it, but then when we tell them, hey, listen, guys, let me show you something. Here, let me freaking show you something here, man. Get this book out, right? Let me show you something. We've got this thing right here. And then we've got this thing right here. You know, we got these things right here that show us how to do it, right? These things that tell us exactly how to frickin' do it. You know? I look at these things and I say to myself, my God, what do we got to do? What do we got to do to get people to understand that we can do this stuff? That we can do incredible things. But the candidate has to have vision that includes doing incredible things. You can't do incredible things if you think the country is broke. You can't do incredible things if you think the nation is drowning in debt. You can't do incredible things if you think the country is in debt to China. You can't do incredible things if you're easily taken off your game, because the enemy doesn't waver. The enemy is dialed in and ready to strike, and they will take out a wimpy-ass progressive that is easily distracted and gets a case of the feels. They will wipe us out. No joke. These guys sit there, I mean, they don't sit there and screw around, man. They got their laptop up, they're typing in spreadsheets, they're freaking making sure they're analyzing data. They're fundraising, they're doing whatever it takes to stop the people from uniting around a Green New Deal. And what are we doing? We're busy talking about a UBI, the neoliberal Trojan horse UBI. Instead of a federal job guarantee that eradicates involuntary unemployment, creates millions and millions and millions of jobs as a right, serving your local communities. Federally funded, not taxpayer funded, public money, federally funded. But no. What do we do to stop wars for oil? Well, we get off oil. This fossil fuels act, like I said, is probably a phenomenal plan. Put it into the Green New Deal. But you have to have a shortness of vision to think that we've got to choose. That framework for a Green New Deal is the most vital piece of policy structure. This is complex. This requires, folks, I want you to understand how important it is to know about a just transition. I want this word, these series of words, to get really into your brain. A just transition is what has always been missing from the automation equation. It's what's always been missing from changing industries, from moving away from fossil fuels to green energy. A just transition provides a pathway for getting rid of the insurance companies and going to single payer, and then finding ways to transition those folks into other work. not just dumping them on their ass and leaving millions unemployed. Coal miners, do you think coal miners want to sit there and have black lung? No, they want to live well too, but they're so used to what they do and they don't see any way out. And most of these plans don't give them a way out. There is no just transition, so they're going to vote against a Green New Deal every single day, even though it's going to kill their kids. And it's not because they're dumb and stupid, it's because they're desperate. And when people are not talking about a just transition, they are purposely setting us up for failure. They're setting it up for much despair, much misery, much pain, much destruction, much death. I think that if I were more syrupy, that I would quit doing this. I think that if I was dealing in low info and just sort of talking in personalities, I would quit doing this. And I'd just start saying, hey man, let's get that bed ready for the Titanic moment. Let's just die with a smile on our face. Let's live each day as if it's our last and fuck everything. Because I'm so against wasting my time talking about things that are irrelevant, that don't matter, that are stupid just for clicks. I refuse to be a clickbait artist. And I refuse to support people that are clickbaity. I want to see us as a movement win. There's a reason why Bernie Sanders has Stephanie Kelton there. Years ago, when Bernie Sanders was looking for somebody to be the Senate chief economist for the Democrats, he went to James Galbraith and said, hey man, who do we got? Who can we do? Will you be my chief economist? He's like, well, no, I think you ought to look at this lady named Stephanie Kelton. Because they needed somebody who was outside the sphere, that wasn't afraid to kick ass, that wasn't afraid to tell the establishment to go pound sand. And so he hired Kelton. Didn't know much about her. There's some stories, there's some good stories. There's an article out there that talks about the marriage between them and how she came into this role. Some big meeting up in New York City. Sitting there, she thought she was going in for one thing, and turns out it was basically a meeting with all the heavy hitters to see if she had the power and the oomph to take on the powers that be and tell them that it's okay to blow up the deficit. And she did. And here she is all these years later, second go round, once again, Bernie's chief economic advisor. Tulsi doesn't have that, with all due respect. And I mean this with all due respect. She does not have that. Nor do any of the others have that. There's only one candidate that has that. It's Bernie. And don't tell me about the Green Party guy that wants greenbacks and other wonky, wacky shit. Because he doesn't have a prayer in hell to win. And we need to win. We need to win bigly, as they say. Because we only have 11 years. And it's not about Donald Trump, because I could give a shit. Like I said, if it ain't Bernie, fuck it. Fuck it. Because the truth is, nobody else has the vision. Nobody else has the strength. Nobody else has the platform. Nobody else is advancing the kinds of Green New Deal we need. Across the board, no one is. Now, I look at this stuff and I say, I don't really care if it's Bernie Sanders. I don't. I fell for Bernie because of Stephanie. If Stephanie suddenly jumped on the Tulsi Gabbard wagon, well, I'd be over there, because competence deserves my attention. Incompetence deserves my scorn. If you're economically illiterate and you're running for office during a time period where we most need the environment fixed, and we need health care, and we need all these other things done with these debt bubble's looming, the one thing you can't go to battle without is a top-flight economist. Somebody that can guide you through the maze of hell that we're facing. And none of these people have an economist worth talking about except Bernie. Bernie's the only one that has a more than competent, an expert economist that actually understands how money works. And without that, think about this. Bernie is not Congress, is he? Have we taken care of Bernie in Congress? Does Bernie have a Congress that's capable of serving him? Yeah, got a couple people in there. A lot of those folks are establishment shitheads. How about on the Senate? Do we got a Senate that's ready to support Bernie? Does it change the fact that we got 11 years? It's going to take incredible smarts to be able to weave their way in and out of these circles to create the environment that pays for the programs, teaches people about paying for the programs, and gets it through uncharted territory. And that's not going to happen with economic illiterates and neophytes. Without a strong structure backing them, a huge network that can organize on the fly, like Bernie. We don't stand a prayer, folks. It's not a joke. I wish I didn't have to stump for the guy, because I'm really not stumping for him. I'm really stumping for a Green New Deal. And I'm really stumping for Stephanie Kelton. And I'm really stumping for economic literacy, so that we can save ourselves from ourselves. This may seem like, Grumbine trying to make economics matter. Well, fuck yeah, I am. I want you to think about what economics actually is, especially at the macro level. We're talking about efficiency. We're talking about moving real resources, access to real resources, marshaling real resources. If our government is too weak to be able to mobilize for a Green New Deal, then it is too weak for us to be able to survive the coming crisis. If you believe our government cannot do this, then you are not the right person for the job. If you are one of those people that is just so cynical that you're so woke you're asleep, you're not the right person for the job. If you don't know how to play ball and work angles, you're not the right person for the job. It's time to get serious, friends. There's a lot of inequality in this country that the entire Green New Deal, starting with a federal job guarantee, begins to address. Let's get through survival of the species. Let's provide a wage floor for everyone, black, white, gay, straight, you name it. Let's make sure there is no more destitution, no more unwanted unemployment. Let's fix that with a job guarantee stat. Let's make that happen. And then, after we've stopped the bleeding, after we've given people health care, after we've gotten rid of that big, huge debt on the kids' backs with student debt, after we have gotten rid of the debt crisis that the regular people are suffering from and causing major stress on the economy because people are tapped the fuck out. They don't have nothing left. And they're trying to run, like I said earlier, from that axe with a heavy-ass pack full of shit hanging on their back, nothing but debts. Now, I'm telling you, as we look at this stuff, and I see people that don't get this, and they're talking to me about a fucking UBI, holy crap, we're in trouble. Jiminy Christmas, what a moron. Why in the world? Why should I pull punches? Why should I be gentle about this? This is our very lives I'm talking about. Why should I be gentle Who am I cajoling? Who's listening? If you're too pompous and arrogant and up in the ivory tower, no one's hearing you. If you're too down in the weeds by the fire pit, making up stories over your bad national bohemian beer and your friggin' stank ragweed, okay? You're not doing anything either. We need people that can fill the void, that have the knowledge of academics and also the understanding of what it means to struggle, all wrapped in one. And that's what we got with Bernie Sanders and his team and us, we the people. We have a shot here at survival. It's time we take that shot, because we may not get another chance. I'm going to say the obvious. Bernie ain't getting any younger. But he's in great shape, tan, rested, and ready, putting in the hours, doing the time, doing the work. And quite frankly, the people that you know and love, like a Tulsi, fit really nicely in his cabinet. But we need all hands on deck. We can't be going around screwing off, playing games. There is no one else on the planet that has got the coherent strategy that Bernie has. No one. Not a soul. And I don't consider just being a little bit more anti-war than others to be an acceptable differentiator. Because ultimately, anti-war is anti-war at this point. We are not sitting there as a movement making any headway on the anti-war movement. We are not. And the reason we're not is because the approach we're taking is just cramming it down, yelling and screaming. And the reality is that the way to stop the war is to choke off the pipeline to the military-industrial complex. And by doing a federal job guarantee, we take the military out of being the employer of last resort. And we make the federal job guarantee the employer of last resort. And we watch the signups for giving up their life diminish, shrink, go away. We get off of fossil fuels, so we stop worrying about territory for getting more oil. And what we do is we now have two of the three main components of getting rid of war knocked out. And by eliminating the stranglehold capital has on labor, we address the third one, which is the power of corporations to drag us into war again. Because people can choose to not work for these companies once we have a federal job guarantee in place. 3 key points to keeping us the fuck out of war without going screw. I'm so against war. We're all against war. At least we should be. But that doesn't mean all strategies lead to victory. In fact, you got to realize the vast majority of Americans are sound asleep, don't care, they're comfortable, and they don't give a shit. They don't watch any alternative media. They actually think it's stupid, and they probably don't even realize that there's such a thing as a live stream. They probably don't even realize there's something called modern monetary theory, and they definitely don't realize that climate change is absolutely going to crush us. That's the deal, friends. And so it's up to us to get organized, stay focused, and stop chasing fairies into the woods. I keep hearing a Jethro Tull song in my head. I mean, I can almost hear the flute playing as some fairies guiding us through the woods as people are chasing nymphs and whatever. And I'm brought back to Wedding Crashers and that great line by Owen Wilson. Grow up, Peter Pan, Count Chocula. This is the time right here, right now. This is the time. And it's up to us to seize the day. Carpe diem. Try to think about what I'm saying, friends. If you see one candidate out there that actually understands economics, let me know. Because I can assure you, the only one that does, and it's not necessarily him that does, it's his economic advisor that does, and that's Bernie. The rest of them, nah, sorry. That dog don't hunt. So here's the deal. We just released a Macro and Cheese, which is our podcast yesterday. Every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we release a new podcast. This podcast this week was L. Randall Wray. It's great. Listen to it. It's on debunking economic illiteracy within the progressive movement. It's a must listen to for anyone who actually has a chance to take the time to listen and who actually wants to be effective in beating this war that we're in, winning this war. Also, please, by all means, check out our YouTube channel. YouTube has done a number on us. They blocked us from being able to live stream there. They've blocked us from doing a lot of things. We need your support. We need your help. If you guys would go over there and just click like and start commenting, helping us grow our channel, hopefully we can get past some of the bullshit. That would be a real big help if you guys could go over to our YouTube channel, check out our videos over there. And just so you know, our videos from Facebook that we do are edited and transformed and put onto YouTube. They're not just thrown over there. They're edited and fixed up a little bit. Also, we have great need to have help, both as volunteers and with the finances. If you guys are able to donate, we could really use the help. I understand things are tight. I understand you've got a lot of things in your lives that are probably pulling you away. But in order to beat these things and get this message out, if you believe in our message, if you believe in the stuff that we're trying to do, if you believe it is important that people hear a message about economics, and not just regular economics, but how it pertains to every aspect of what it is that we're trying to do, we need your help. We don't have help from on high, and we don't have help from on low. We're here fighting through this fight for you and for our families. We need your help, and I'm not ashamed to ask for it. Please donate to Real Progressives. If you can donate one time, we have the PayPal. If you can be a monthly donor, that would be fantastic. As we get better, we're going to have different rewards and different specials that will go out there for helping us fundraise. We desperately need folks that understand how to do this stuff. We're just here to present the information. We don't have all this business acumen when it comes to fundraising and stuff. We need your help. If you understand this stuff, man, come on over, help us. Don't just sit back and think it's taken care of. It's not. We need you. And the last piece of this puzzle here that I want to throw out there, folks, we want to be able to take this message to our local communities. We want to be able to organize. We want to be able to work with other groups, but we are distinct in our mission. So we need help from activists. We need people that are willing to share these live streams, share our podcasts, help us in the streets filming, catching the protests, catching events, catching rallies. We need your help. So please, we have a document that is going from our Action Network newsletter. We need folks to sign up. Literally, enter your name, enter your email address, and your zip code. That's it. And please, whitelist Real Progressives. Come to our YouTube channel, smash the like button, smash the follow button, get updates so that we can get this message out there. And you can help us share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it wherever, Steam it, all the other places you go to. We need your help. Anyway, with that, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend with your families. I'm going to turn in for the night. We got a busy work week ahead of us. And hopefully, folks, I'll be able to go live, try and do it every night this week if I can. I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to start getting some interviews out there. With all due respect, I want to give an explanation to you all. I haven't been able to tell this story enough, but I have a son who is autistic, and he's a beautiful little boy who I love with all my heart. But he has a sleep schedule issue. And oftentimes his sleep schedule doesn't match up with the times that I could do a lot of the interviews that you grew used to seeing me do. It pains me deeply because I have a calling to do the interviews. I enjoy doing the interviews. So I have to get creative in how I pull them off. But my son comes first. He always will. I love him with all my heart. So I hope you'll be understanding as we try and find creative ways of getting me to be able to do the interviews that you've grown to expect. I love you guys. I thank you all so much for all the strong support. And with that, have a good day. I'm out.